My friend saw his pregnant wife sleeping, then broke down and told me a secret. My friend was the last guy I ever expected to see crying over a woman. In high school, he was 6'2", varsity basketball, the kind of guy girls chased without him trying. He kept a shoebox full of phone numbers he never called. Junior year, he dumped a girl the second she made the relationship official online. Senior year, he ghosted another one right after she bought him an expensive birthday gift. His excuse was always the same. She was getting too attached. College didn't change him. He had rules. Never bring them home. Never meet their friends. Never stay the night. I asked him once why he was like that, and he just shrugged and said commitment wasn't his thing. Then 4 years ago, he met a girl at a coffee shop on 5th Street, and for the first time in his life, someone didn't care that he was charming. He asked if the seat next to her was taken. She looked up, said yes, and went back to her book. He came back the next day. Same answer. On the third day, I went with him because I thought he was lying. He tried again, and she shut him down without even looking up. The barista laughed. Most guys would have stopped. He didn't. He kept showing up, buying coffee he didn't even like, fixing his shirt in the window before he went in, asking me if I thought he sounded stupid. After 2 weeks, she finally agreed to one coffee. Just coffee. After that, things moved fast. 6 months later, they moved in together. A year later, he bought a ring. Last September, I stood beside him at their wedding. He looked happier than I'd ever seen him. Last Tuesday, I stopped by their apartment after work around 7. He told me to come over for a beer, and I still had the spare key. I knocked twice and got no answer, so I let myself in. The TV was on low, some cooking show. His wife was asleep on the gray couch, wearing one of his old college hoodies, and it barely fit over her belly. She was 8 months pregnant, due in about 3 weeks. One hand was resting on top of her stomach, and while I stood there, I saw the baby move. Her whole belly rolled under the fabric. Then he came out of the kitchen holding 2 beers. He started to hand me one, saw her, and froze. Completely froze. His arm stopped in midair. For maybe 10 seconds, he didn't blink. He just stared at her sleeping there with their baby moving under her hand. Then he made this broken sound, like he couldn't catch his breath. I thought something was wrong. He turned toward me, and tears were running down both sides of his face. Not watery eyes, full tears. His shoulders were shaking. This was the same guy who didn't cry at his grandmother's funeral. The same guy who laughed after an ex keyed his car. I put my beer on the counter and said, "You good, man?" He tried to wipe his face, but it didn't help. He set his beer down, took a shaky breath, and said, "I need to tell you something. Something I've never told anyone." His voice kept cracking. I just nodded. He looked at the floor, then back at her and said, "Do you remember senior year when my dad left?" I said, "Yeah." Everybody knew the divorce was bad. His mom kept the house. His dad moved away. He said, "The night before he left, my mom sat me at the kitchen table and told me the real reason." My friend's hands were shaking now. He said, "My dad told her he never wanted kids. He said having me ruined their marriage. He said every time he looked at me, he saw everything he gave up. His career, his freedom, his life." Then he looked right at me and said, "My mom told me my dad left because I exist." I didn't even know what to say. We'd been friends for 15 years, and I had never heard this before. Suddenly, every girl he pushed away made sense. Every relationship he ruined before it got serious. He kept talking fast, like once it started, he couldn't stop. He said he spent years believing that one day he'd turn into his father, that he'd wake up, resent the woman beside him, look at his kid, and see a life he lost instead of a life he built. That's why he never let anyone get close. He sabotaged everything first, because he was terrified of becoming that kind of man. Then he looked back at his wife, sleeping on the couch. The baby kicked again, and her whole belly shifted. He started crying harder, but he was smiling too. He said, "But watching her right now, carrying our daughter, I've never been more sure of anything in my life. I'm not him. I'm never going to be him. This isn't something I'm losing. This is everything." Then he laughed through the tears and said, "That's my wife. That's my daughter in there. In 3 weeks, I get to be somebody's dad, and I've never wanted anything more." Right then, his wife opened her eyes, saw his face, and pushed herself up fast. She said, "What's wrong? Is something wrong?" He walked straight to her, dropped to his knees by the couch, kissed her forehead, and said, "Nothing's wrong. Everything's perfect." Now my friends are saying I invaded his privacy. Was I wrong here?